Is Wizard's Retort right for Modern Merfolk? Let's find out. Hey everyone, this is Nikachu, Merfolk Master, and the whole Merfolk community is excited for the newest card coming out of Dominaria, Wizard's Retort. Let's talk about it. Now, this is a card that costs blue, 1 generic. It's an instant. Counter target spell. Super strong. But that's not all. This spell costs 1 less to cast if you control a wizard, which is really convenient because Merfolk is full of wizards. Now, this counter spell effect, really strong. Counter spell is so strong that Wizards doesn't want to print it in Standard almost ever again. The last time it saw play in Standard was in Masks block like 18 years ago. So the Merfolk community says, we have a counter spell here, and we've got so many wizards in our deck like Curse Catcher and Silvergill Adept, Harbinger of the Tides, the new Merfolk Trickster, Kopala, Warden of Waves, and Master of Waves. So many wizards. We're basically wizard tribal, so why not play this card in our deck? Let's start off with saying that it is directly competing with a card that has already been printed called Deprive. At blue, it also counters a spell at the cost of just returning a land to your hand. Now that cost is not super huge because we're generally playing this thing on turns 3 and 4 or much later on in the game, so we should have no problem returning a land to our hand, or in any situation where we're choked on mana at 2 or 3, then that is also fine. We can just return a land and replay it. So we already have this solid counterspell available, also gaining in popularity because the downside of casting it for blue, not as big as we once thought it was. Why play Wizard's Retort over Deprive? There actually is a bit of a downside to Wizard's Retort, and that is not all our Merfolk are wizards. The core Merfolk are not wizards. We're talking Lord of Atlantis, Master of the Pearl Trident, and Mararegery. So Wizard's Retort is not going to cost blue 100% of the time. Deprive will, and that's the thing. In any situation that Wizard's Retort is going to cost 3 mana, we're going to probably lose. We have no room to ever play this card at 3 mana. And sure, you could say, well, most of the time it's going to cost just 2. Well, I don't want to work with most of the time. I want to work with all the time. You know, sure, 90% of the time, this is probably just going to be a normal counterspell for blue. However, that 10% of the time, we're probably going to lose. I'm thinking of all the situations where I'm up against a combo deck. Turn 2, I play Lord of Atlantis. Turn 3, I play Master of the Pearl Trident with only 2 mana up. And then the next few turns, I try to hold up my counter spells while I get in the 6 damage clock over and over and over again. And then those aren't wizards, so if I have Wizard's Retort in my hand, I'll never be able to cast that counter spell. And whatever my opponent does, I can't do anything about it. There's also the situation where there's just niche situations where 3 mana is just too much. Let's say I'm up against a control deck. They've wiped my board, and I have a Mutavault and 3 islands in play. And I top deck Wizard's Retort. Well, that's not bad, but I cannot attack with my Mutavault anymore because then I don't have the Wizard's Retort shield up anymore. You see, like, there's just too many niche scenarios here and there where I'm going to be missing out value because this thing is going to cost 3 mana. So my question is, why risk it? Why ever risk it? I don't think it's worth it. And that's why I am putting my trust in a card like Deprive, which will always counter a spell for 2 mana. And I'm not gonna have so much faith in Wizard's Retort, which will most of the time cost 2 mana, but with the times that it's gonna cost 3 mana is going to cost us. So I hope that clears up a lot of things for you guys. Let me know in the comments section below. This has been Nikachu, Merfolk Master, talking about Wizard's Retort.